Good morning. On behalf of the Federal Transit Administration and the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, I would like to welcome all of you to this public hearing on the Draft Environmental Impact Statement, or DEIS, for the Port Authority Bus Terminal Replacement Project. My name is Elizabeth Rogach, and I'm representing the Port Authority, and I'm the official hearing officer for this hearing. For the record, this public hearing is part of the environmental review process for the proposed Port Authority Bus Terminal Replacement Project. The Federal Transit Administration, or FTA, and the Port Authority have prepared a draft environmental impact statement in compliance with the National Environmental Policy Act, known as NEPA. The draft environmental impact statement, or DEIS, was made available to the public on February 2nd, 2024. The public comment period will remain open until March 18th, 2024. At this hearing, we are accepting oral comments on the Port Authority Bus Terminal Replacement Project and its DEIS. In a few minutes, we will show a 25-minute video presentation about the NEPA process, the proposed project's purpose and need, how the project will be constructed, and the next steps in the environmental review process. Joining me today from the FTA Region 2 is Community Planner, Mr. Raymond Tomczyk. While the FTA and the Port Authority are the joint lead agencies for this project, you, the public, are an essential part of this process. Your comments will become part of the official record mandated as part of this process. The FTA and the Port Authority will review all comments, prepare a summary of the comments, and prepare responses to the comments. These comments will be considered when preparing the final EIS. As appropriate, the analysis in the EIS document may be revised as a result. Please note that we will not be responding to your specific questions and comments at this hearing. All comments received during the hearings or during the public comment period will be documented, and responses to them will be part of the final environmental impact statement. Please be advised that unless otherwise specifically stated by the commenter, all information submitted as public comments will be subject to public release, such as names, addresses, and email. We will now begin the hearing presentation.
Hello and welcome to this public hearing for the Port Authority Bus Terminal Replacement Project. This public hearing is being conducted in accordance with the National Environmental Policy Act, more commonly known as NEPA. The Federal Transit Administration, or FTA, the NEPA lead agency, has determined that an environmental impact statement, or EIS, is to be prepared for the proposed project, referred to as the Bus Terminal Replacement Project. Under the auspices of the NEPA process, the Port Authority is seeking federal funding to assist with financing the proposed Bus Terminal Replacement Project. The NEPA EIS will also serve as the City Environmental Quality Review, or SEQR. The FTA, in coordination with the Port Authority, has prepared the draft Environmental Impact Statement, or DEIS, with input from the public and in coordination with federal, state, and local entities. The DEIS Notice of Availability was published in the Federal Register. At the conclusion of this presentation, we will review the comment period, all comments submitted during this hearing, and the entire public comment period will be reviewed and addressed within the final environmental impact statement, which is expected to be completed in August 2024. Following these introductory remarks, we will present via this video an introduction of the project, an overview of community engagement conducted to date, a comprehensive project overview featuring detailed site plans, an overview of construction phasing and process, and finally, the project timeline and next steps. The FTA, in coordination with the Port Authority, will be hosting a total of 4 public hearings, 3 virtual via the Zoom platform, and 1 in person, for the Port Authority Bus Terminal Replacement Project, DEIS, to hear comments from the public. Following this presentation, attendees will have the opportunity to provide comments. For those who have pre-registered to provide a comment, the moderator will call your name in the order in which your registration was received. Each participant will have 3 minutes to articulate their comments. If you have not pre-registered to provide a comment, you may request to do so once the public hearing is underway, and you will be called upon if time permits. Alternatively, written submissions of comments can be submitted after the public hearing through various channels, such as the designated website, www.pabtreplacement.com. Email at pabtreplacementnipa@panyj.gov. By phone, leaving a voicemail at 92950273004. Or by postal correspondence to the Port Authority of New York, New Jersey. 4 World Trade Center 150 Greenwich Street, 25th floor, New York, New York zip code 10007. Attention to Miss Elizabeth Throgak, Esquire. Or to the Federal Transit Administration, Region 2, 1 Bowling Green, Room 428, New York, New York zip code 10004-1415. Attention to Mr. Donald Burns, FDA Director of Planning and Program Development. We are here to listen to you and hear your comments. Your feedback is important and continues to guide the future of this project. In this section, we will provide a brief overview of the National Environmental Policy Act. This is followed by the project's purpose, need, goals, and objectives. The National Environmental Policy Act. Federal agencies are required by NEPA to prepare an EIS if a proposed federal action may significantly affect the quality of the natural or built environment. An EIS is a detailed written statement that defines the purpose and need for a proposed action, considers a range of reasonable alternatives, including a no-action alternative that is the future without the proposal, identifies and evaluates the potential environmental impacts from the proposed action and any reasonable alternatives, and identifies measures that may mitigate the potential effects of a proposed action. Project purpose and need. A new bus terminal is needed to accommodate approximately 260,000 passenger trips on a busy weekday. This translates to approximately 23% of all Trans-Hudson commuters at present, and bus ridership is projected to increase to 30% by 2040. Existing bus and passenger travel demand is forecasted to increase substantially. As such, the Port Authority needs to support the projected growth of commuter and intercity travel crossing the Hudson. The Port Authority needs to address the functional and physical obsolescence of the existing terminal. The existing bus terminal is already at capacity and will not be able to meet future demand. It is also past the end of its useful life and will require significant structural repair if a replacement project is not undertaken. The repair would fix some of the issues facing the building today, but reduce the capacity of the facility to handle buses. The Port Authority needs to address bus operations and storage and staging. Project goals. The project seeks to improve Trans-Hudson bus operations, improve the passenger experience within the terminal, provide seamless passenger accessibility to NYC transit connection, strive to achieve consistency with local and regional land use plans and initiatives, develop a project that optimizes life cycle costs, and reduce the impacts of bus services on the built and natural environments. Project objectives. An important guiding principle driving this project is the enhancement of the commuter experience within the bus terminal. This principle has played a pivotal role in shaping the following project objectives: maintain and enhance connectivity with subways and mass transit, deliver a world-class, state-of-the-art, sustainable terminal design, preserve and improve pedestrian and ADA accessibility to traveler origins and destinations, and establish direct bus linkages to the Lincoln Tunnel. There is more detailed information about the project purpose and need, its goals and objectives, in the Draft Environmental Impact Statement Reports Chapters 1 and 2. Community feedback. In this section, we will review the extensive community engagement conducted to date. In May 2019, the Port Authority released a planning level scoping document for public review that commenced a 120-day comment period. The document identified a long list of alternatives that were screened down to 3 alternatives that best met the project purpose and need. These 3 alternatives were split operations between a rehabilitated bus terminal and the Javits Center, locate operations entirely at the Javits Center, and retain operations at the existing bus terminal site and Port Authority properties. The planning level draft scoping document, summary of comments and responses, and final scoping report summarizing this process and outcome are all available on the project website, www.pabtreplacement.com. In June 2021, a notice of intent to prepare an environmental impact statement was released to the public, initiating a 45-day comment period to solicit feedback on the NEPA Scoping Information Packet. Following this period, the final NEPA Scoping Information Packet was published summarizing comments received. This extensive public and stakeholder input during the planning level scoping and NEPA scoping periods informed the Port Authority in formulating its proposal for the modified proposed project, which is referred to as the Bus Terminal Replacement Project. Bus storage and staging. In consideration of the public comments and local community feedback regarding impacts caused by bus traffic on city streets and the utilization of street-level bus stops, queuing and parking across various locations, the Port Authority responded by incorporating a bus storage and staging facility that will facilitate direct connections between the Lincoln Tunnel and the new terminal. The new ramp structure, which connects the tunnel, storage and staging facility, and new main terminal, will reduce and further minimize any impacts to city streets from buses accessing the replacement facility. This reduced use of city streets will help offset the natural growth of local traffic that is currently impacted due to curbside and bus terminal operations. Additionally, during the planning level scoping process, the community put forth a request to the Port Authority to relocate the intercity buses presently operating at adjacent curbside locations into the scope of the project. Unlike a transit bus service, which has frequent stops within a city, an intercity bus service generally has a single stop in a city and travels long distances to reach other cities. Presently, some intercity bus services operate within the existing terminal, while others operate curbside along city streets. In response to the public comments regarding curbside operations, a dedicated floor within the new main terminal will now facilitate the efficient functioning of curbside operations. Project overview and site plan. In this next section, we share renderings of each project component. This is an aerial map of the existing Port Authority bus terminal facilities, distinctly outlined in orange. The facilities extend from 8th Avenue to 11th Avenue between 39th Street and 42nd Street. Project components. This locally preferred alternative, also known as the Port Authority Bus Terminal Replacement Program, or the New Midtown Bus Terminal, includes the following components: a new main terminal at the location of the existing terminal, utilization of Port Authority property, an integrated building immediately west of the main terminal to accommodate commuter bus storage and staging, a new ramp structure and underpass to connect directly the buildings and the Lincoln Tunnel, publicly accessible open space, and private development at 2 locations on Port Authority property. Now we will walk through each major component of the proposed project. The main terminal will be located at 8th Avenue crossing over 9th Avenue between 40th Street and 42nd Street and will include 5 floors of bus gates, 1 floor for intercity buses, and 4 floors for regional commuter buses. 182 bus gates, approximately 40 of which are dedicated to intercity operations. Direct connection to the 8th Avenue subway and Times Square transit hubs. Best-in-class passenger amenities such as modern facilities, appealing street-facing retail spaces, modernized ticketing areas, and state-of-the-art design. The Americans with Disabilities Act or ADA standards integrated into layout and design. A partial closure of 41st Street will create a linkage of a north and south wing, increasing operational efficiency and public access. Larger central atrium, and finally, approximately 55,665 square feet of street-facing retail space, as well as 13,700 square feet of interior retail space. The main terminal will ultimately be connected to the storage and staging facility and ramps across 40th Street to create an integrated operation and circulation pattern. The new storage and staging facility will be located between 9th Avenue and 10th Avenue between 39th Street and 40th Street. This facility is designed to encompass 5 levels of storage, accommodating approximately 300 to 350 storage spots. This additional storage space is anticipated to reduce vehicular congestion on city thoroughfares and throughout the Lincoln Tunnel during rush hour. The storage and staging facility will serve as a temporary bus terminal for commuters during the construction phase of the main terminal. Additionally, the facility will provide approximately 65,700 square feet of additional at-grade retail space. The new ramp structure will be located at Galvin Plaza, west of 10th Avenue. The ramp structure will serve all bus movements into and out of the above-grade bus levels of the replacement facility to and from the Lincoln Tunnel. Spanning an area of approximately 350,000 square feet, the ramp structure will connect to the storage and staging facility and main terminal. The design of the ramps will greatly relieve congestion on 40th Street and 9th Avenue. This ramp structure design will also enhance the quality of the urban streetscape while optimizing bus reliability. The new ramp structure will maximize bus access to the Lincoln Tunnel and other approaches while minimizing the need for terminal-bound buses on local streets for circulation or terminal access. Adjacent to the storage staging facility, 2 below-grade sections of Dyer Avenue or the Lincoln Tunnel Expressway between 37th Street and 39th Street, and 9th Avenue and 10th Avenue will be decked over. The deckovers on Dyer Avenue will serve as a location for temporary bus operations and potentially for construction staging during the development phase of the replacement terminal. Following the completion of the main terminal, these areas will be transformed into expansive, publicly accessible open spaces, totaling nearly 3½ acres, enhancing the urban landscape. The Port Authority is committed to collaborating closely with community stakeholders on the design and operation of the open space. At this time, no specific design or range of options has been put forth for the development of this open space, as a consultative process will occur in the future. As part of the project, 2 private development towers are proposed to be built on Port Authority property located on 8th Avenue between 40th Street and 42nd Street. The 2 towers are proposed as commercial offices. Tower 1 would contain up to approximately 3 million gross square feet of commercial space with an approximate height of 1,200 feet above grade and a lobby entrance located on the corner of 8th Avenue and 42nd Street. Tower 2 would contain up to approximately 2 million gross square feet of commercial space, with an approximate height of 900 feet above grade and a lobby entrance located on the corner of 8th Avenue and 40th Street. These approximations are subject to market demand. The funding strategy for the project would include financing from this private development and payment in lieu of taxes. Upon completion, the Port Authority Bus Terminal will provide many advantages to its diverse customers, community members, and various stakeholders, including an elevated public realm, significantly enhanced user experience, improved vehicular and pedestrian flow, and green energy transition, to name a few. Beginning with the elevated public realm, there will be major improvements in the streetscape, including the integration of street-facing storefronts throughout the project site and appropriately scaled sidewalks and pedestrian areas for diverse users. The conversion of the Dyer Avenue deck overs into publicly accessible space will further augment these improvements to the public realm. The creation of a larger central atrium by linking the north and south wings will enable intuitive wayfinding and significantly enhance the spatial experience of the terminal. The new ramp structure and storage and staging facility will contribute to the substantial reduction in bus vehicle miles traveled on city streets. This streamlined traffic flow will enhance the reliability of bus commutes, benefiting the experience of commuters. Moreover, the expanded intercity capacity will accommodate curbside operators using the facility. Lastly, the new terminal will embrace a green energy transition. The project is slated to achieve a LEED 4 Silver certification with the intent to pursue an Envision Gold rating consistently. This aligns with the adoption of electric fleet changes and the incorporation of modern energy-efficient systems within the terminal, striving towards a net zero carbon profile. In this next section, we will provide an overview of the project phasing as well as the construction process. The project timeline is estimated to be approximately 10 years. Following scoping, the first 2.5 years of the project, beginning in January 2022, consists of an environmental review and the Uniform Land Use Review Procedure, or ULURP, for the proposed project. Receiving and responding accordingly to public and industry feedback, and the procurement of construction, professional, and technical services for the project. The proposed project's timeline entails an estimated 8-year construction period, starting in 2024 through the end of 2032. The initial 4 years within this time frame will be dedicated to constructing the Dyer Avenue deckovers, storage and staging facility, and the ramp structure. The storage and staging facility will open and serve as the temporary terminal by approximately late 2028, at which time the construction of the main terminal will begin for a duration of 4 years. The construction of the main terminal will incorporate foundational work for the private development set to occur independently in the future. Construction of the main terminal is anticipated to be completed by the end of 2032. The private development will occur after then and are expected to be completed by 2040. The following renderings will depict the 8-year construction period organized into 2 major phases. Phase 1, occurring between 2024 and 2028, will commence with early action activities focused on the construction of 2 deck-over structures south of the existing ramps. These deckovers will be placed over the mouth of the south and center tubes of the Lincoln Tunnel. Additionally, Phase 1 will include the construction of the ramp structure and storage and staging facility. The storage and staging facility will be equipped to operate as a temporary terminal when the construction of the main terminal begins. This strategic adaptation will allow the continuity of essential transportation services during the onset of construction for the main terminal, thus minimizing disruptions and maintaining the uninterrupted provision of transportation services throughout the subsequent phases of the project. Once the storage and staging facility is available for temporary operations, Phase 2, occurring between 2028 and 2032, will consist of demolition of the existing Port Authority bus terminal, construction of the new main terminal, as well as the foundational work of 2 private development towers. Once the main terminal is complete and operational, the storage and staging facility will be converted from temporary commuter operations to storage and staging operations. The Dyer Avenue deckovers can then be converted to public open space, with the foundation and cores of 2 private towers incorporated in the design and construction of the new bus terminal. The development of private development would commence subject to market demand and expected to be constructed by 2040. The sale of the development rights and payment in lieu of taxes for the 2 commercial office towers are needed to fund the project. In this next section, we will conclude with an overview of the environmental timeline and next steps. At present, the project is positioned at step 5 within its comprehensive planning and environmental review process. The DEIS public hearings and 45-day comment period began with the publication of the DEIS. In terms of the next steps, the project team will consolidate all comments received during public meetings, including those submitted via the project website, email, mail, and voicemail. Then the project will progress to step 6, in which the team will prepare and release a final environmental impact statement and the record of decision by the summer of 2024. Following this presentation, attendees will have the opportunity to provide comments. For those who have pre-registered to provide a comment, the moderator will call upon your name in the order in which your registration was received. Each participant will have 3 minutes to articulate their comments. If you have not pre-registered to provide a comment, you may request to do so once the public hearing is underway, and you will be called upon if time permits. Alternatively, written submissions of comments can be submitted before and after the in-person public hearing through the designated website www.pabtreplacement.com. Email at pabtreplacementnepa@panyj.gov. By phone, leaving a voicemail at 92950273004. Or by postal correspondence to the Port Authority of New York, New Jersey. 4, World Trade Center 150 Greenwich Street, 25th floor, New York, New York zip code 10007. Attention to Miss Elizabeth Throgak, Esquire. Or to the Federal Transit Administration, Region 2, 1 Bowling Green, Room 428, New York, New York zip code 10004-1415. Attention to Mr. Donald Burns, FDA Director of Planning and Program Development. All comments submitted during this public hearing and the entire 45-day public comment period will be reviewed and addressed within the final environmental impact statement, which is expected to be completed in summer of 2024. The following slide is a summary of the DEIS public comment period schedule. The 45-day public comment period started on February 2nd, 2024, and will end on March 18, 2024. This concludes the pre-recorded presentation. We will now transition to the moderated portion of the meeting, during which comments will be received.
Thank you for your attention. As stated in the video presentation and on the screen, there are a number of ways that you can comment on the project. Comments can be submitted via the project website at www.pabtreplacement.com, by voicemail, email, and by U.S. mail at any time during the 45-day comment period, which ends on March 18, 2024. Any method that you choose to use during this comment period will be treated equally. I will now introduce our moderator, Maura Fitzpatrick, to begin the public portion of this hearing.
Yes, good morning and welcome. And my name is Maura Fitzpatrick, and I will be your moderator. I just want to briefly go over the ground rules, some of which we've already covered. And these instructions are also in the pamphlet that you have up in the front of the room. If you've not already registered to speak and would like to make a public statement, please sign up at the front desk and we'll have you fill out one of these cards. And Kelsey and Janessa will help you with that. And we are allowing each speaker 3 minutes, and I will be timing you, and I will let you know when there are 30 seconds remaining. And as Elizabeth said, we won't be responding to comments here, but your responses will be part of the final environmental impact statement. Also note we have our stenographer here taking down your comments, and all comments will be treated equally regardless of how they've been submitted. I will ask that you address your comments to the subject at hand, the Port Authority Bus Terminal Replacement Project, and that you use respectful language in your communications. And if you prefer to speak, to not speak today with us on the screen and on your pamphlet or all the other means by which you can submit comments during the end, until the end of the comment period. I will be calling the names of those who have registered in the order that they were received, and elected officials will also be offered the opportunity to speak. And I will also call the names of the next couple of speakers, so you can be set up for that. And you can register anytime until 10:25 this morning. When your name is called, please approach the microphone here at the dais, but please be careful. We had a nice hall there, and it's gotten a little cluttered, so be careful when you make that trip. If for any reason you'd prefer that we bring the microphone to you, we can do so. Just let us know, and one of the project team will help you with that. Again, I will remind you that you have 3 minutes to speak, and I will ask you to state and spell your first and last name for our record, and then I will begin the timing. In addition to our American Sign Language interpreters that we have with us today, we also have Spanish language interpretation if anyone so needs. And the comment portion of this meeting lasts until 10:30 a.m. If speakers are still waiting at that time, we can try to accommodate them as needed. I will now call the first speaker to the podium, and please remember to state and spell your first and last name, and that there's a 3-minute time limit. Our first speaker is Nancy Sheeran, followed by Ariel Talome, followed by Joe Restuccia. So Nancy Sheeran, if you wouldn't mind please going up to the mic and state and spell your first and last name. And remember, there's a 3-minute time limit, and I will be warning you at 50 seconds.
Hello, can you hear me? My name is Nancy Sheeran, NancySheran. I'm here as a member of the public. I'm both a user of Port Authority Bus Terminal, and also it's kind of in my neighborhood. I was able to walk here from my apartment this morning. I was very happy. Oh, by the way, I've been using Port Authority since the 1960s when I first came to New York. So it's bad now, but I'm telling you it's better than it was in the 1970s. When a young woman couldn't walk through there without unwelcome advances coming from all kinds of people. I was glad to see that there's an attention to the accessibility. I'm a senior citizen now, and my husband is also a senior citizen, 91 years old. He has difficulty walking and walks with a cane, and he's a little unstable on his feet now. So even though escalators are a tremendous improvement, and I'm glad that Port Authority put in that extra set of escalators in the south building, elevators are really better for people who have real difficulties walking. I'm hoping that you'll think of having more elevators so that it's not such a long walk to get to the elevator. If we enter on the 8th Avenue, 40th Street side, and to get to the nearest elevator, it's quite a long walk over toward 9th Avenue, toward the 9th Avenue side of the station to find an elevator. So that's one thing. Seating, I know seating's an issue these days with, various other problems that the city is having, but terminals without seating is a real difficulty for people who can't stand for long periods of time. So please think about, and there's no way my husband could sit on the floor the way a younger person could do it. If he sat on the floor, he wouldn't be able to get up. So, he needs actual seating. Another thing, too, is that when we leave the station, the taxi stand used to be very reliable. It's no longer reliable anymore, so please think about having a functional taxi stand.
And you have 30 seconds remaining, please.
Okay. So it may involve some work with the Taxi and Limousine Commission, I know, but half the time when we go there, there are taxis sitting there, but they're empty. Maybe the taxi drivers are going in to use the toilets or having their dinner break. It's very hard to get a taxi after you leave the Port Authority. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay. And again, please be careful when you're... Good. Thank you. Okay, our next speaker is Ariel Talome, followed by Joe Restuccia, followed by Alan Green. Is Ariel Talome with us? Okay, next is Joe Restuccia, followed by Alan Green, followed by Karen DeArmas. Is Joe Restuccia with us? Okay, then we will have Alan Green, followed by Karen DeArmas, followed by Ryan Brodsky. Is Alan Green with us? Okay. Karen DeArmas, followed by Ryan Brodsky, followed by Dominique Singer. Is Karen DeArmas with us? This could go quickly. Ryan Brodsky, followed by Dominique Singer. Ryan Brodsky, I'm glad you're here. Thank you. It's getting great. So again, Ryan, please spell and state and spell your first and last name for us, and be reminded there's a 3-minute time limit.
Sure. My name is Ryan Brodsky, RyanBrodsky. I live in the neighborhood on the corner of 40th and 10th, the building that the crane hit, and I'm also on the board for Astros Community Dog Run. Astros is currently a small community dog run and garden occupying a small triangle of land next to the Port Authority ramp down into the Lincoln Tunnel on the corner of 10th Avenue and 39th Street. We are a community park where anyone from the community can get a key after they submit proof of vaccination online. While in the past we have collected donations to cover the cost of the key and any upkeep and supplies, Astros has been free for the past year or so. We are run by volunteers. I'm a volunteer board member, and we have over 200 registered dogs and owners, about 250 dogs actually, and we've been serving the neighborhood since about 1999. We also have a small but beautiful community victory garden facing 10th Avenue that has its own set of gardeners from the community. Not only do we offer a beautiful respite from the chaos of 10th Avenue for dogs to run, and about 125 feet in open, unobstructed gravel length, and they can really run, but we are a great space full of flowers. We have summer barbecues for dog owners, informational sessions related to dogs and dog ownership, not to mention servicing the immediate neighborhood as its community dog run for at least almost a mile in any direction. There's no other dog run. Keeping dog poop from the streets from our 200 dogs, and also a depository for all of the trash that bus drivers on the ramps throw out their windows that end up in our dog run and then in recycling. And yes, they throw it out the window. It's all bus tickets. Let's see. We are a green space that's being displaced by the Port Authority project that's not been considered or offered a new space. Despite a new community green space being added on the just diagonally opposite on the corner of where Astros now exist, just southeast at 39th and 10th. Even with the thousands of new residential units in the Hudson Yards Hell's Kitchen area where Astros sits, there was no dog run in the Hudson Yards plan or project, nor in any of the 4 existing or 2 future plan blocks of Bella Abzug Park. We want a space. It's a travesty for the neighborhood to lose Astros green space and the benefits to the community, as we do not have a temporary home once construction starts on our lot. Even more
30 seconds remaining.
Thank you. Even more ridiculous is that the Port Authority has not offered any new space for us in the final plan. We are a tiny part of the landscape, but a big piece of the community that's been here for 20 years and want to stay here for 20 more. And then comments for me as a resident. The ramp, I don't think that the ramp building is enclosed. And so what is the environmental impact versus enclosing it and doing some carbon capture? I live right next to the ramps, and it's disgusting. That's it. Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you so much. Okay, next is Dominique Singer, followed by Joan Greenfield, followed by Daniel DeLuca. And Dominique, if you could please state and spell your first and last name for us and be reminded of the time limit.
Good morning, Dominique Singer, Dominiquesinger. I'm a resident and building owner of the neighborhood, right across the street practically, and I'm interested in talking about the effect of the construction phases on the neighborhood. So the first phase, for example, of the temporary storage unit is going to be happening yards away from our building, and it will, let me just see. My concern during construction is what kind of structural damage will occur to the buildings that surround the construction area. All of our buildings are at least 100 years old, and what procedure, for example, and has the Port Authority thought of this, to put in place for any contingency of damage to the buildings surrounding the construction site? If something happens, are we simply forced to sue you? My other concern is also knowing exactly where and when the construction will be occurring during the length of the project so that plans can be made somewhat to organize our lives around it, because we know it's going to be chaos, dirty, noisy for years. And what will be the working hours? And that's part of what I said before, is having a sense of what is going to be happening, where and when, so that we can plan if we're lucky enough to go away. On the 40th Street off 9th Avenue, will there be closings? Will that exit from the tunnel be closed and used as a staging area for cement trucks? We have had the experience of cement trucks in a line, churning away for between basically 6 to 8 in the morning, making it really difficult to get a good night's sleep, or at least think you're getting a good night's sleep. And essentially, that is the end of my comments. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. So next is Joan Greenfield, followed by Daniel DeLuca, followed by Gwyneth Leach. Joan Greenfield? Okay, be careful.
Yep.
Okay. And again, please state and spell your first and last name for me, and remember the time limit.
Hi, all. My name is Joan Greenfield, JoanGreenfield. And I, too, am a resident and a building owner. Our place is located right in that crook on 40th Street, just west of 9th Avenue, between West and Dyer. So it's not that we're going to be affected by one or the other of the terminal work and the staging storage area. We are in the middle of it for the duration. So it's going to be kind of a nightmare. I share Dominique's concerns about knowing what sort of schedule would be involved. The French, you may know, have a website to let people know which of their sectors are going on strike and when. It would be nice if there were a website for this process that let us know what kind of disruption we can expect and for how long. We're concerned about noise, dirt, traffic disruption. And the other reality is we have a commercial space currently vacant. It's going to be very difficult to fill because we can't present an office space that's going to be in the middle of a jackhammer city. So that is a big problem, and I'm concerned to whether any of these plans have mitigation factors for the people in the immediate environs who are going to be so adversely affected by them. At the time the Hudson Yards projects were in full sway, we went to a community board meeting, and the neighbors were reporting their nightmares, and the developers were basically brushing them off, saying, we have permission to do whatever we want. We don't care how you feel. We'll talk about it. And nothing happened. By contrast, one of the speakers of that meeting was a nightclub owner who said whenever he developed a new space, as a courtesy to the neighbors around him and to avoid trouble with the neighbors and to be a good neighbor, he installed triple pane windows in the immediately surrounding buildings and across the street. so that you wouldn't have this kind of problem, and so he wouldn't generate ill will. I'd like to know
30
what
seconds
kind of...
remaining, please.
Okay. I'd like to know what kind of mitigation is going on here. And also, since developers get big tax breaks, whether there might be a real estate tax mitigation or moratorium for the people who are in the thick of it while this is going on. Would make a big difference to anyone, whether a residential or a commercial landlord, who's going to really struggle to keep their place filled and to keep their income going for the 8 to 10 years we're looking at. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, next, Daniel DeLuca, followed by Gwyneth Leach, followed by Christine Berthet. Daniel DeLuca? Okay, next, Gwyneth Leach, followed by Christine Berthet, followed by Blake Sala. Is Gwyneth Leach with us? How about Christine Berthet? No, thanks? Okay, Christine. And Blake Sala? Yep. Okay, hi, Blake. Again, if you be careful, if you could please state and spell your first and last name and remember the time limit.
Hi, everyone, and thanks for having me out at Port Authority, New York, New Jersey. My name is Blake Saleh, B-L-A-K-E-S-A-L-E-H. I am a retired business owner of a security maintenance and medical company called Versatile Enhancements. Input I have is in regards to the implementation of possibly having luggage storage areas. So that way people can have compartments for their luggage, 2 bags, a backpack, and a side bag. And then have an affordable connectivity program at the terminals, a store for free phones, and then food assistance, free pantries, reference little free pantries throughout the area, or reference little free pantries, and then the implementation throughout the area. And residential areas and path walks areas, free health insurance section, temp free housing, hotels to apartments to houses, free PPE equipment, and then cash assistance, and then also the implementation of prosthetic implementations of RC bots, telepresence operated for ADA accommodations for remotely operating prosthetics such as bots, drones, holograms, and equipment. And luggage storage, and then also air tourists and accommodation, or air tourist observation decks, and then modern monitoring stations, and then Hollow Connect automation to live reps automation systems, or Hollow Connect automation to live reps, and then automation cleaning and maintenance bots to handle the maintenance of the facilities. And that's all.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Okay, I'm going to call the names of the speakers again who had signed up and have not spoken yet. Ariel Talome, Joe Restuccia, Alan Green, Karen Diarmas, Daniel DeLuca, Gwyneth Leach. Are any of those people with us in the audience? If not, we will be here until 10:30. If you change your mind, you can just sign up at the front desk to register to speak. Otherwise, I would invite you to go back to our board station area, and you can speak with our subject matter experts. They're the ones with the badges on. But do remember that your conversations in that area are not part of the public record. So if you have a comment and you feel like you want to make sure it's part of the record, please make sure to either sign up to speak with us today or following all the instructions on this piece of paper, you can submit your comments until 5 o'clock on March 18th. Thank you so much.
Assistant Director, Major Capital Projects at Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. So, good morning and welcome to all of you, and thank you for being here. So as a quick high-level summary of the Port Authority Replacement Program, as we know, the bus terminal today is beyond its useful life. State of Good Repair is a program that we continually invest tremendous sums of money in, and we are at a point where the bus terminal, for the user experience and in terms of the neighborhood experience, needs to be replaced. This project, high level, is going to create a new facility that's going to meet the demands of the future. Looking at the forecasts of bus riders coming in from New Jersey and other destinations, including those that would be using long-haul buses such as Bolt and Megabus, also known as the inner-city buses. This program, while it will replace the entire bus terminal in its original location, the location that we are at today, one of the most important elements of this project is that this project will not be taking private property. We will be building this project completely on Port Authority property. It will meet the demands of the future, as I just mentioned, looking at what those future capacity numbers are, being able to provide a facility that is intuitive, easy to access, that creates a more efficient, dependable commute for those who are coming in and out of the city. It also has a goal to reduce street congestion. Today buses come in from the Lincoln Tunnel and they circulate along local city streets. That creates a lack of dependency for the commuter. It creates congestion in the local neighborhood, and we will be remediating that through a new ramp structure. Additionally, this project will be looking at utilizing new technologies, being able to provide, say, for electric buses. Today's facility is antiquated. Beyond, again, its state of good repair. We are unable to allow for charging stations or double-decker buses, which reduces congestion. So all of these shortcomings will be addressed and provided for in the new bus facility. It will be a facility that is also something that the neighborhood can be proud of, that will integrate within the neighborhood in a way that this facility does not. A welcoming facility that will enable local residential retail opportunities, street-facing retail opportunities that does not exist today. Additionally, the bus terminal as a transportation facility will be a facility that will provide ease of access for the commuters, the residents who live in the neighborhood who want to access mass transit, and it will integrate in a way that this facility simply cannot today.
Thank you. Wait, can you talk about what this public comment period is for?
Yes, certainly. So we are currently involved in a federal process led by the FTA as our lead agent. That's called NEPA. So we just filed a document called the Draft Environmental Impact Statement that was filed on February 2nd. It kicked off a 45-day comment period where we hold public hearings, what we just did this morning, and we will be doing over the next few days. So in that 45-day comment period, anyone can avail themselves of the draft environmental impact statement and provide their thoughts and feedback to the Port Authority on what's important to them. That will be factored into the next step, which is called the final EIS.
Now, is that just procedural, or is that on the part of the Port Authority really wanting to consider some of those ideas?
Well, that's a very good question. It is procedural because we are following the National Environmental Protection Act. So while it is procedural, the Port Authority, prior to this process, had a long history of working with the local community and the bus carriers to provide for, or to come up with a project that met both the needs of the commuters and also the needs of the local neighborhood. So the public access portion, or the outreach portion, has been very important to this project and the Port Authority.
So this concludes the public comments portion of this meeting, and I will now turn it back to Elizabeth Rogak for closing remarks.
Thank you. There are 3 more virtual hearings scheduled during the comment period where interested members of the public can receive information contained in the draft environmental impact statement and provide oral comments related to the proposed project and its draft EIS. Wednesday, February 21st, 2024, at 2 to 4 p.m. and at 6 to 8 p.m. There's another hearing at Thursday, February 22nd, 2024, from 6 to 8 p.m. On behalf of the Federal Transit Administration and the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, thank you all for your participation and your comments on the Port Authority Bus Terminal Replacement Project's draft environmental impact statement. The time is now 10:30. This concludes this public hearing. Thank you.